worry about Conway. I mean, he's not getting worse, but with the distillery guys hanging out around him, it makes me worried. He's turning into one of them. Come on, Conway, we gotta make this delivery. Look at those easels and tablets on the beach over there. They call it an open-air gallery, or probably something more upscale like alfresco galleria. They say it's a popular design in foreign cities like Paris and New York. That may be true. The appeal is clear enough, I guess. Anyone can wander in and out. There aren't any walls or doors. There's no roof either, just a kind of thin cloth membrane, not quite a sheet or a tarp, but more like a drape of rolled out spiderweb. Looked like it might bunch up and dissolve if it ever got rained on. No concern down here for rain. Everybody thinks they're inside just because they can't see the sky. But it's a microclimate down here, and it surely does rain. Right now they're exhibiting some intimate photographs of small-town life. The pictures all sort of run together. After looking at them all in a row, it's hard to come away with any specific memories of people or faces. You just get a kind of fuzzy afterimage, the warm residue of a community, no individual meaningful except as a bit of contrast or shading. Reviews have been good. It's a popular show, probably because of its relevance. The town depicted in these photos was very recently flattened to make way for a big museum project. The irony is not lost on me. Photographs of a city crushed to put up a building to remember things that are gone. Trees, I think. We've been ignoring Ezra, so we'll have Ezra help Kate. Let's see what Ezra and Kate have to say to each other. Act 4, Scene 6. A grove. I remember the last time we were in a forest. It wasn't so bad back then. But I so do worry about Conway. Whoa, those are some big trees. She lit a second cigarette with the embers of the first one. She trembled, sweating a little under a heavy coat. It was warmer near the doors, but she was following directions. No smoking within 25 feet of hospital entrance. Kate gently rolls a fallen branch and plucks something white from the underside. She holds it up for Ezra to examine. It's interesting. She stood by a hot dog cart parked at the edge of the sidewalk. Pleurosobella porregens. The common name is angel wings. Isn't that pleasant? They have a delicate springy texture, and they're tasty, like sweet moss. Would you like a bite? Okay. Ezra's fairly adventurous. Ezra takes a small bite and ruminates. What do you think? Is it supposed to be spicy? We'll just say it does taste like moss. Personally, I like to be able to tell where my food came from, by flavor alone. I like to taste my surroundings. I mean, it keeps me connected to the whole thing. My mushroom hunting mentor told me, it's useless to pretend to know mushrooms. They escape your erudition. The more you know them, the less sure you feel about identifying them. She taps the cover of the small red book she's carrying. That's why I always bring my favorite guidebook. Kate points to a small mushroom growing in the dirt. Oh, here's an important one to recognize though. Look, see the sort of greenish pallor of the cap? Amanita phalloides. That's Greek. Amanita means mushroom and phalloides means, never mind. Can you eat it? Only once. It's deadly poisonous. Death cap. That's the common name. It's killed a lot of people, this little mushroom, including a few Roman emperors. It's a revolutionary. Even the Buddha died from eating a mushroom when he was very old. That's just what they do. Clear away old things, make room for new things. Pretty important, right? I always thought they deserved a little more respect. Would you like to help me look for more? I have a sort of shopping list. Great, look for... Actually, just grab any mushrooms that catch your eye and throw them in this bag. Let me know when you're done and we'll see what you've got. Have fun! That's the second rule of mushroom hunting. The first rule is, ask Kate before eating anything, okay? Ezra investigates a rotting stump. Okay, let's see. Examine some tree roots. She spots a couple of intriguing growths along the roots of the tree, a speckled white ball and a cluster of softly glowing amber caps. The hot dog vendor tries to strike up a conversation with some immediately too personal questions. She decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he considered it part of his job, she thought, to offer his customers some kind of counsel. Maybe it was to solve his guilty conscience for selling junk food outside a hospital. Ooh, plastic bag washed up on the island. The bag is ragged and waterlogged. He nudges it with a stick, coiling up a plastic thread and spreading it out on the beach. He didn't like to play in the house. It was always too cold. He seemed to store up the cold at night and slowly discharge it into his bones during the day while the sun bounced feebly off the windows. But he liked to play in the woods behind the house. He'd taken a knife from the kitchen, selected for its long, serrated edge, meant for slicing bread. Its teeth had reminded him of a saw blade. He was determined to collect some firewood to heat the house. There are no mushrooms in the bag. Let's try the glowing amber caps. The mushrooms are slick, sticky to the touch, like they're covered in smoldering honey. Kate cuts a bundle of mushrooms from the tree roots and puts them in her bag. Kate kneels in the grass. Alright, so we've already done Kate, so let's move on. Let's investigate the rotting stump. Shrooms usually deal in there. The stump is ringed with overlapping shelves of mushrooms, striped brown, blue, gray, white. A caterpillar crawls along one of them. He didn't have any friends nearby. None of their new neighbors seemed to have children his age, so he played alone in the woods, alone except for the deer. Let's inspect the mushrooms. It smells spicy, sweet, mild, like how Ezra had expected his father's tobacco to taste when he hastily chewed and swallowed a noxious fistful, and spent the afternoon retching in secret. He heard someone calling his name, probably his mother, but her voice didn't sound right through the trees. He kept going. Let's dig in some dirt. It's a bit muddy from flooding or the general dampness of the caves. She finds two promising specimens, a spotted brown cap and a dense bundle of dark ridges. Has she ever tried any alternative medicines? Acupuncture? Homeopathy? Ayurveda? Magical thinking, she said. She'd never heard of any of those things. He fished a stray hot dog out of the pickle jar. Inspect the brown cap. The bottom of the cap is covered with tiny tooth-like protrusions. We'll take them. Kate tries to swipe some mud off her boots. Didn't find anything? That's okay. Oh. Tears off a piece of the mushroom and puts it in his bag. There we go. Ezra closes his eyes and listens to the water and the distant clicking of bats. He tripped on a protruding root and lay for a while in the mud, examining the pale upper branches of a sycamore tree, listening to the soft rumble of a faraway thunderstorm, then louder, closer, and his hair stood on end. And there was the bird. Here's my haul. Kate takes a spotted brown cap out of her bag. Okay, this one is called Bitter Hedgehog, and it's on my list. It's great for nausea, which is basically the #1 complaint of the pregnant women I treat. It tastes kind of like black pepper. It's okay. I let it dry out so it's really tough, and they just chew on it like bubblegum. Kate takes a bundle of amber caps from her bag. These ones are really cool. See how they kind of glow a little? It's not enough to find your way in the dark or anything, but still pretty amazing. Anyway, I make a tea out of them. Pretty good for headaches. Kate puts the mushrooms back in her bag. So, you have a brother out there somewhere? Julian. He's going to come find me in the morning after the work is done. Yep, we work pretty hard. We used to spend part of each night looking for my folks, but now we pretty much just work. But maybe that'll change now. I have some new friends. Do you have a family? I left my home when I was very young, not much older than you once. Years later, my mother got sick and I tried to visit her, but it was too late. She was all spaced out on fevers and morphine. I've basically been on my own since then. Well, that's not really true. Just about everyone who sets foot aboard the monkey Mammoth feels like family to me now. I guess if nobody's family, then everybody's family. These are the only trees in the whole cave. Who planted them here? Months later, she came across a book of homeopathic medicine in a used bookstore and bought it. She thought it was mostly bullshit, but found the author's notes on the unpredictability of mushrooms immediately compelling. Spiritual, even. Right, not many trees down here in the dark. I know these are some kind of cypress, and they were definitely planted here, deliberately, by someone who... I guess I don't know much about this place, really. It's supposed to be some kind of memorial? To something? Will would know more. Sorry, it's a mystery. She started collecting mushrooms on hikes, never eating them, just collecting, identifying, and discarding. Eventually, she connected with the Lexington Mycological Society and began to study in earnest the medical use of fungi. It's a mystery. I'll search for clues. She put out her cigarette and said goodbye to the hot dog vendor and spent the rest of the afternoon listening to doctors and trying to understand the world as they did, as a list of discrete injuries to be mended. Let's check out the monument. The monument is covered with lichen and painted text. Rock graffiti. X+O forever. Let's take a look at the shore. Ezra steps on a plastic bottle. A wooden post projects from the sand nearby. Let's examine the post. A groove is worn near the top of the post. Ezra inspects the contents of his pockets. Alright, what have you got? A stone-faced monument has X+O forever painted on it. Interesting. What do you think that means? Hugs and kisses forever? Or they could be initials. Xavier and Olivia forever? Xerxes and Oliver? What do you think that monument is for? I'm not sure anyone remembers. There's a pole in the ground over there. It's all scratched up. Oh yeah, I bet people tie their boats there. Maybe somebody who takes care of the trees. Could be. Or other travelers and mushroom hunters like us. That boat is full of cats. Well, Ezra, I can't say I know what that all adds up to. Like I said, I wish Will were here. He'd have some local history for us. We can ask him back on the boat. Kate and Ezra look up at an old battleship drifting by. Oh, there it is. The Iron Pariah. Don't worry. It's just passing by. I don't know much about it firsthand, but I've heard things. Ezra's parents shook him awake. They seemed alarmed, but not immediately concerned. They led him back to the house, past the house, into the car. I heard it was in the Civil War. Of course, supposedly there's nobody even aboard. No people, I mean, there must be something on there. Life is everywhere. Rats, insects, some kind of hardy mold. Part of it could be flooded and host to some of the eyeless fish that live in the Echo. Hey, maybe there are some mushrooms growing in there, slowly consuming military rations from over 100 years ago. Dad said they were going to stay at the bus station for a while, the one with the little arcade with the card game he liked. Dad watched him closely in the rearview mirror, expecting Ezra to be excited or confused or scared, but he didn't feel anything. He hardly seemed to hear. In fact, he felt like he was observing the family car from a distance, from far above, in the clouds. Someone told me she got close to it by accident and heard a strange wailing sound. She was a passenger on the Mammoth. She said she'd been out fishing on a rowboat and got swept up by the current near the cluttered place. Before she knew it, the Iron Pariah was upon her, unimaginably massive, up close but eerily silent. The only sounds, she said, were the lapping of the lake water against its iron hull and a faint sort of, well, she said a chorus of mews. I'll be damned if I know what that sounds like. I've never gotten close enough to the ship myself. More mysteries. They do pile up over time, as people forget the details. Thanks for taking me mushroom picking. The mushroom hunting. You can pick apples because they're right out there in the open. Mushrooms hide. You have to hunt for them. To the boat! It's time to go. It's time to go. Lots of debris down here in the water. See that rough circle of rock protrusions near the shore? It's more intricate than it looks. More than 2/3 of it is actually underwater. I haven't seen it myself, but listen to this. It's man-made, and the rocks weren't placed according to their size, so it's visible as a more or less uniformly random selection of the overall shape. It looks like it might be a spiral, all told, or maybe some kind of meditative labyrinth. At the head of it is a petrified oak stump. That was moved here from above ground. Of course, decades ago. That's where the ceremony took place. The Lucks were married here. Many frail-tongued observers said that they should just go with Lock or Luck, or split the difference with Look, or even Lick, or really anything else, but it was never going to happen. Billy Luck and W.H. Lock met in line at the DMV. Their driver's license photographs were mixed up by the clerk, a mistake they discovered immediately but never corrected. Their engagement was welcome news for the family businesses who had been looking for some opportunity to merge interests. They were the Locks of Lock Large Animal Storage and the Lucks of Luck Family Nut Company. Surely someone in some branch of those two great trees had elephant husbandry on the brain. This is all speculation. The ceremony itself was humble and perfunctory, and it must have somehow involved these rocks. Probably the rocks marked the boundaries between the two families, Lucks on the inner loop and Locks on the outer, or the other way around. And it must have also involved that petrified stump. Neither family is particularly religious, but rumors persist that the officiant wore a robe. We'll do mushroom stew in the kitchen. This is not our package. This is not the road we're looking for. So we'll go make mushroom stew in the kitchen. Act 4, Scene 7. The Mucky Mammoth. It's Will and Ezra and Homer and Valkyrie and everybody else. And a few of these really big caps with the slimy gills. I shouldn't say slimy, moist. The lady in the video called for portobello, but I prefer never to know a mushroom by name. So is this a breakfast stew? It will be, but not today. The stew is for tomorrow. It has to simmer all day. Some things are just better done slowly. We've added the anonymous mushroom, so next we, got the recipe video on pause next door. I used to follow a recipe I learned from the Ida herself. The best cook you're ever gonna meet on this river. Of course, it had a few secret ingredients. She has the good sense to preserve some mystery around her cooking. Better for business. Ida is so shrewd. She swore me not only to secrecy, but to ignorance. I had to promise to forget the recipe just as soon as I had cooked it. Let me tell you, it's not so easy to forget something on purpose as you may think, my friend. Not so easy. That is a very moist sound. What else do we have? The pots on the wall, I think. Now that is an interesting sound. Not so moist, though. I know that some people don't like the word moist, so it's fun to say it as often as possible. I still don't know why people don't like the word moist, but that's just not how I am. Hello, Shannon. Crushed tomatoes, salsa, or even a little ketchup. Here's the thing, nobody has to know. Throw in some more of that spice blend we threw together earlier, stir all that up, and crack a beer, baby. You'll be here for a while. What did she just say to do? Will's trying to make this stew right now. What was the last step he did? He put a couple of mushrooms in. Then I think he forgot what he was doing for a little while. Maybe I can help him figure it out. I got kind of sucked into this program. Alright. Do you want to fix it, Shannon? You go right ahead, girl. It all seems very exciting. Alright. Well. And even that wasn't enough to convince her. So I trained rigorously in the art of forgetting, studying for months under a master amnesiac. Finally, I learned to forget so quickly and accurately that I was able to convince Ida to share with me the most obscure secrets of her kitchen. As a demonstration of my trustworthiness, I forgot the names of my own parents right there in front of her. Every time I wanted to cook this legendary stew, I'd call Ida up on the telephone and ask her for a quick, temporary reminder. Here on the boat, we haven't got a phone line, so I have to seek out culinary wisdom on videotapes of cooking shows. So back to the matter at hand. Next, we add some crushed tomatoes. Oh, it's you. I thought... Never mind. Hello. I don't have any crushed tomatoes. I have some ketchup. Did you win anything? I have misplaced my damn ticket. I'm sure it'll turn up. Hey there, could I ask you... Wait, why are you cooking? We're stopping at Sam and Ida's in 20 minutes. It's for tomorrow. Oh, well, just don't forget about it this time. I'm not scrubbing up any more boiled over sludge. Sorry, listen, I have a favor to ask. There's a package for the telephone exchange and I can't get the Mammoth back there. Could you deliver it for us? Thanks a lot. I've got the dinghy all ready to go. Maybe take your friend with you? One of you can man the outboard motor and the other can aim the flashlight. It's dark. Oh, so we're going to be delivering the package anyway. Interesting stuff.